broadcasting live to Facebook, LinkedIn, YouTube, Periscope, Twitch, and so much more. This is Go Live with Restream from your host, Ian Anderson Gray, the show that helps you expand your audience and reach through the power of multi-streaming video.
Hello, it's Ian Anderson Gray here. This is the Go Live with Restream show. This is the show that helps you to expand your audience and reach through the power of multi-streaming video. And just a quick apology, we are a little bit later than we normally are. This is completely my fault because I didn't check my calendar. Luria Petrucci is my special guest today. Really excited to bring in Luria. And we were going to make it an hour later to fit into her schedule, and I forgot. So thank you so much for watching and delaying your time there. Over the last few episodes, we've been covering how to multi-stream, as well as the best microphones, cameras, and other gear that you will need to produce successful multi-streamed live video shows. But do you have a strategy for your live video show? Well, in today's show, I'm joined by veteran live video broadcaster Luria Petrucci, and today's show is all about how you build your live video strategy so that you can grow your confidence and brand awareness and your business as well. So before I bring in Luria, just to say, as always, we're broadcasting to a plethora of different channels, including Facebook, YouTube, LinkedIn, Twitch, Periscope, DLive, and so much more. So thank you so much for tuning in. If you're watching the replay, as always, put hashtag replay in the comments. And I can see we've got some wonderful people watching. Don't be shy. Let us know where in the world you are watching from. And if you want to be notified for next time, now I do have a little thing for this. Let's see if I've got this. Is it going to work? Yes, it is. If you go to confident.live/restream, you can be notified for next time using my fancy messenger bot. So it's time to just tell you a little bit more about Restream, and then I'm going to bring in Luria, which I can't wait. So let's see if this works. It does. Fabulous. So just to let you know, Restream is what I'm using today. Restream Studio is what I'm using today. This is the complete multi-streaming suite for entrepreneurs. It's got loads and loads of different things going on here. First of all, it allows you to stream to multiple platforms. In fact, over 30 different platforms. You have LinkedIn Live, Facebook Live, YouTube Live, Twitch, Periscope, and so much more. And you can do this from the comfort of your web browser, whether that's Chrome or Firefox or Safari. That is one of the easiest ways to go live. You can have loads and loads of guests on the show, and you can stream professionally. You can add comments on the screen and highlight lots of your comments and graphics and things like that. So that's really cool. If you're wanting to be a bit more fancy, though, you can also use a third-party tool like OBS Studio, Ecamm Live, or something like that. And you can broadcast directly to Restream, and then that will take care of it. One of the things I love about Restream is the ability to bring in the comments. Restreaming is great, multi-streaming is great, but if you can't interact with your audience, you're missing out on a big powerful part of multi-streaming. So you can do this with a tool like Ecamm Live. Restream will bring the comments back to Ecamm Live, or you can do it from the browser in the Restream Studio as well. So that's the chat facility. You can also schedule your pre-recorded video live, and don't forget, you can also check your analytics and check how you're doing with your live streams. So definitely check that out. It's awesome. And if you want to know more, all you need to do is go to iag.me/restream. iag.me/restream. Right, I think it is time to bring in Luria. So I'm really excited about this. Luria is a live video strategist helping you create professional live video that's uniquely you. Over 14 years, Luria has created over 5,000 videos with over 1 billion views using video and live streaming shows. She's appeared on CNN, NBC, Fox, NBC, MSNBC, ABC, and the BBC. She's worked on live video for top brands like AT&T, Samsung, GoDaddy, and Panasonic. And she and her partner David have built live video studios for top influencers like Amy Porterfield, Pat Flynn, Ryan Levesque, Donald Miller, and Michael Hyatt. Right, it's time to bring in Luria. How are you doing, Luria? How are you doing?
I'm fantastic. Hey. Happy birthday, Ian.
Oh, thank you. Yes, it was a birthday weekend. So well remembered.
Did you do anything fun?
I did, yes. I don't know if you know this, but I'm a massive Indian food fan. So we went out for a curry.
Yummy.
Thankfully, we were allowed to go, and we had to wear our masks and everything. But we got in there, and it was fab.
I love it. I see Idea Time Studio in the house. I saw Anya. Hi, Alec.
Yay.
Everybody. So, nice. Alec is an LSP member. Awesome. Good to see you over
Well,
here
thank
too.
you. Thank you so much. And that's awesome. Yeah, so I see that Pro Web Labs says you guys dropped the ball. Yeah, it's my fault, okay? I'm going to take the...
I'm just wreaking havoc over here.
Yeah, well, no, it's not you. It's not. And Anya's here. Hello. So yes, and Gary from Oregon. Idea Time. So this is Joe North. Thank you very much, Joe. And Glenda's Creative Palace.
Yes.
Hello. So this is great. We're broadcasting on all the socials, which is awesome. Thank you. Right.
Can I just share something before we
go on.
get going with the real stuff? I just got this cool new plant for my set background. How freaking amazing is this thing?
Wow. What is it?
It's a
Tell me more.
frizzle sizzle. That's all I know. I kill plants, so I'm hoping to not kill this one.
What? So that is a real plant.
It's a real plant.
A real plant. Yeah.
It's crazy looking.
It's kind of interesting you talking about that, because I one of the things, the next thing on my list, there's always a list, isn't there?
Yes.
Is my background. I've never been happy with my background. It's boring. I've got a coloured light behind me, so we're getting there. But plants, and do you think all backgrounds should have plants?
No.
It seems to be the in thing.
Definitely not. No. So my set background, and as we talk about strategy, of live streaming, I just did a video about this the other day. There are 3 different ways that you can kind of create a set background. One being like very personal kind of style, where you're like, if you love Captain America, then that's back there or whatever. And then also content specific backgrounds, right? And where it's like, okay, so we have my bourbon journey as a student, and his set background is all bourbon, like shelves and shelves of bourbon. And then more of an environment, an inviting environment. This is my home. This is my living room. So I didn't want to do anything kind of I didn't want to put a whole bunch of knickknacks back there, because that's not the way I wanted my life to be. And so, that's another strategy, is just creating an inviting environment. And mine's not finished yet, but I've been putting lots of plants back there because I'm going with a Japanese modern theme in my home. And so that kind of fits along with that. Thankfully, my community manager is good at plant taking care of, she keeps them alive. So that's not part of her job description, because I'm not good at it.
Well, that makes me feel slightly better, because I feel like I'm one of the only people that if I see a plant, it kind of dies. It kind of just, oh no, Ian. Yeah, so...
I can't wait to see what you do with your background. That'll be exciting.
Yeah, definitely. Well, one of the things I want to do is I want to kind of share my journey, and I love that's what you're doing. You've said you're not finished with this yet, so this is work in progress, and you're adding it. And I think it's great to take. I mean, I'm sure you've thought about this. This is probably what you're thinking. Is you're taking your viewers on a journey of what you're doing in the background. You're changing it. I mean, has that been part of your journey with this?
Yeah, totally. It's not just about the background. You should embrace the taking your viewers on a journey mentality through everything you do, right? That is one of the strongest strategies that you can have in your live video, is to engage people on a personal level, right? I kicked this off on purpose. I did not just this wasn't just something that I wanted to kind of have and share. I'm creating a personal connection, right? And so I want to take you behind the scenes of the process of me getting new plants and adding them to my background, but also from a promotion standpoint and anything else that you're doing in your business with your content. You should be bringing people along for that journey and inviting them into your content in a more personal way, because that is what sells at the end of the day. That is what creates a human connection, so that you don't have to sell, in fact, right? Let's say you're writing a book. And if you walk people through that journey, if you invite them along through the process of the mistakes, the hardships, the successes along the way, that is people are so emotionally invested at the end of the day that they are going to buy that book. There's no doubt about it, right? I mean, you've experienced this as well, I'm sure.
Yeah, definitely. I think this is one of the powerful things about live video, isn't it? We're showing the real us. People will either love us or hopefully not hate us, but
it's okay if they hate us, though. They're just let them go.
As long as they don't start saying offensive things. But we've got lots of lovely people in the room. I can see Ricardo is watching, saying, "Holy moly, Luria, it's been a while."
Hello.
So it's great to see you, Tiffany. I don't know whether I mentioned Tiffany, but hi everyone from Port St. Lucia. Have I pronounced that correct? In Florida. Lucci, there we go. Thank you.
It's okay. You're from across the pond. You don't know these things.
I know. I try. And Tiffany says, so I have colourful backgrounds, black, white, or flower. Those are, but those are all
backdrops work too, right? Backdrops can work too. Like there are so many different styles that you can go with, and it has to just match your personality and what you want to convey to the viewer.
That's so true. The personality thing is really, really important. And Alec Darling is watching on LinkedIn. Says you all need to get a Christmas tree soon. Oh, please! It's October. We can't.
Let's not speed up the rest of the year now. Come on.
Yeah. Although we might need something to look forward to. And Anya says, I love the look and feel of brick walls. So you don't have, this is not a green screen. This is proper brick wall, which is great. A lot of people had the brick wall.
Proper brick.
And of course, your camera, we're not going to talk about tech too much today. We're talking about strategy, but obviously you have a quality camera and that really gives it that really fabulous feel. You've got that nice blurred background as well. So that obviously helps.
Yeah, I'm using a Sony A50-100 with a 16 millimeter lens. So I actually have it zoomed in a bit. It can go even wider, but I have, oops, wrong way. Right, so that's what the 16 millimeter lens looks like. But because it gets the ceiling and everything, I kind of zoomed this in. But that's, and there's so much you can do from the tech perspective. And that's what we teach and all of that good stuff. But let's stay focused on the strategy.
Yeah, let's stay focused. But I know we're probably going to get some questions on that. So there we go. That is Luria's Camera. And Bob Cartwright says, yeah, Ian, listen to her. What's with the confidence poster behind you? Yes, I know.
I was going to suggest you maybe move it over a little bit, like so your head as it covers up the word.
Well, you see, but this is part of the issue. We live in rented accommodation, so there's a limitation to what we do. But we are in the process of looking for a new house, and I'm going to be creating a live video studio there, which I'm really excited about. So there we go. So that's there's loads of things. Tim Son is here and says Jim Foos has a brick wall too. So that's obviously the thing. And Alec says the A5100 rocks with 16mm lens. Guess where the advice came from? I wonder where. So how long? So first of all, one thing that intrigues me in your bio, and I know I've seen you talk about this at the Youpreneur Summit, is the whole YOUniquely You thing. Before we dig into strategy, tell us a bit more about that, because you've talked about the personality in your background, and I know this is something close to your heart, being uniquely you and leaning into your flaws. And bit of a plug, Luria is coming on to my show on Thursday to talk a little bit more about that. But just briefly, Luria,
we're going to get to hang out all week.
It's fab. I can't wait.
Talk about the YOUniquely You concept of like putting yourself into. Sure. So this concept of, and I can't put it up on screen right now, but YOUniquely You, spelled YOUniquely You, where it is all about putting yourself out there. I saw somebody say earlier that they got advice to be themselves. And that's great advice, be yourself, but it's also the worst advice in the world, because it's like, how? That's what people struggle with the most, is how to put themselves out there. And so that's what I explore with this concept of being uniquely you. I launched a podcast around it, as well as a free Facebook group. And I want you to embrace who you are at your core, which does include flaws and all, like Ian said. And these flaws, these things about ourselves that we hate and that we see as negative, are exactly the thing that our audience and other people find attractive about us, that they are that's appealing in our personality to them, to know, like, and trust us. And so that is what I want you to accomplish in your content, in your business, and in your life. All of these three things come together at the end of the day. And it is vital that we stop living this fake authenticity that we see so much out in the world right now, especially just take Instagram. And my sister's cousin, who is not my cousin anyway, somebody I know, just said the other day, she was like, I am going through this horrible time in my life, and I won't give the details, but she was like, I'm afraid to share that. And she doesn't even do content creation, but she's afraid to share that out on social because of what she feels like people will think of her. The fact that it's hard, the fact that she's going through a hard time, she's afraid to share that because of what people might think. And that says it all to me. I was like, mind blown. This is a problem, right? Like, we all go through hardships, and we all go through, or we all feel things about ourselves that we don't want to release out into the world. But that's exactly why we need to release it out into the world and into our content and integrate it into the connection that we're building with our community, because that is what will create a long-term loyal connection, instead of just this surface level, like, oh, I like your content, but that's about it.
Yeah, this is something that's really dear to my heart as well. It's tough. It's really hard. I think so many of us, we're worried about, we want to be liked. We're also, so many of us compare ourselves with others. We look at other people who are doing what we think is an amazing job. They might look, all that kind of stuff. And we're going to talk about strategy today, but I wanted to ask Luria that, because I think this is one of the biggest problems that live streamers have, is the whole confidence and mindset side of things. And so,
and it's so fascinating. And this is strategy at the end of the day, right?
Yeah.
But I am so fascinated to watch our students kind of go through this process of being more vulnerable, which then gets them more confident on camera. It's not the opposite. I used to think that it was the opposite. Oh, well, I'll teach on-camera techniques, and then they'll just be good on camera. When in fact, what it takes, and I've discovered this over the last year of like really pushing my students hard on this concept, what it really takes is them being comfortable with who they are. And then they are confident on camera and can do the on-camera techniques that I teach. So it's really backwards in terms of the way we think about it.
Yeah, you're so right. Yeah. Well, that is fabulous stuff. Just to have a look at the comments, we've got some fabulous people here.
I like fabulous people.
yeah, we do. So, yeah, Gary says, be yourself is the advice I got. Seems to be working. But great advice, definitely.
It is great advice. It's just hard to put into action,
Yeah, absolutely. It is. And, I'll be honest, it took me until probably about 3 or 4 years ago to get a little bit more comfortable. And actually, really, in the last year or so, I think we all suffer from something, whether it's, imposter syndrome or comparatitis or whatever it is. But ultimately, you've got to be true to yourself, because we don't do a very good job of being somebody else. We can do a good job of being ourselves. Wouldn't you agree?
Oh, totally. Well said.
Yeah. So I can't remember who asked this. So let's see. We had somebody. Oh, yeah, there we go. So Pro Web Labs was asking, are we using Restream Studio to stream this? We certainly are. And Sean Doc Boyd to say, proper brick wall is the name of my Pink Floyd cover band.
Nice.
That's great. I love that. And he also says, I've got some ideas for rented accommodations. You gave me a video idea. I aim to please. I'd love to know about, a bit more about that. And Gary says, I guess what I meant is don't try to be someone you're not. Yes, show your flaws. Makes you more human. Seems to be working for me. I think, Yes, I think you did mention that before. And Tiffany says, I'm a real estate agent. When live streaming about buying or investing in real estate, do you suggest that to tell stories is best? What's your suggestion? So, yeah, maybe if you could answer that, and then we're going to dig into a bit more strategy.
So, obviously, you're teaching something, right, about buying and investing, and that's very strategic how-to kind of content. But yes, stories. We as human beings work through stories. We understand stories. If you ask a question to another human being, they literally have no choice but to answer it. It's the way our brain works. And so if you can ask a question and then work your way into a story around that question, it's one of the most powerful things you can do. And all the while, you can be teaching those how-tos and those strategies about real estate investing and buying. And it is so powerful to come up with stories around not only your customers' successes, right? That's the first in the business world. That's the first story that we think of to tell, is the customer testimonial. When in fact, what if you were to talk about your own experiences when you first started? What was her name? When you first started in real estate, Tiffany, thank you. What mistakes did you make that you're now teaching how to avoid? Tell those stories, and don't just tell the pretty polished story. Tell the raw version of how bad you did at that thing, right? Tell the fact that you made a mistake and then you were sitting in your car crying for half an hour because it was so bad and you felt so horrible about it. But then turn it around and say, this is the thing that most beginners go through, and I'm here to help you avoid these types of mistakes. I don't want you sitting in your car crying for 30 minutes. This XYZ is how you actually avoid mistakes, and this is how you do it right. If I had known that, I wouldn't have had that mistake, right? So those are the types of things that you can tell stories around, bring in your own flaws, your own stories, your own experiences, connect to the viewer on a human level, and also teach. So that whole combination is really powerful.
Yeah, I think so. I think the thing that people will worry about is if they talk about their flaws and they talk about the mistakes that they've made, who's going to hire them? That's in their head. Mm-hmm. What would you say to that?
So you don't have to say, I don't know what I'm doing. Obviously, if you don't know what you're doing, you shouldn't be teaching what you're teaching.
Yeah, maybe,
right?
Yeah.
and so you need to be confident, first and foremost, that you actually do know what you're talking about. And all you need to know is just a little bit more than other people that you're talking to, right? There will be people who always know more than you. There will be people who always know less than you. And so you're speaking to the people who know less than you. And you did go through those mistakes in order to get the experience and the wisdom that you are now teaching. And so it's not a bad thing to tell people you have made mistakes in the past or even currently, as long as you are giving them some advice around that and how to avoid that for themselves. That is valuable. And so nobody hears that. I made a mistake and says, oh, well, you just don't know what you're talking about. As long as you're presenting it in a way that says, like, this is the mistake, this is the lesson, here's how you fix it, and don't make the same mistake. Like, that's super, super valuable.
Yeah, definitely. So probably best not to, like, if you're having a really bad day, you're feeling depressed, everything's going wrong, and then you pour your heart out, you say, as we say in the UK, I feel rubbish today. That's probably not the best strategy. So let's talk about strategy. We have been talking about strategy, but the question I always like to ask the question, why? Why is strategy important? We're all told, yes, you should have a live video strategy. Why is live video, having a live video strategy or having a strategy for our live videos so important? Why should we bother with it?
Well, because it's what makes the difference. So we teach, professional live video and strategy. And honestly, most people come to us for the tech first, because they think that that's what is going to get them the results. It does do major wonders to have a professional setup, and also because it adds instant credibility, right? It gives people a sense of calmness and trust when you look good, that you're presenting the best self. And so that helps from a strategic standpoint. But it's definitely, the tech is only going to get you so far. It's going to set you up. It's going to make you look good, and get that instant credibility. But beyond that, once people have the tech set up, they always are like, okay, well, now where are the viewers? Right?
Yeah.
Well, the strategy is what gets you the results. It grows your audience. It grows your revenue and business. If you do not have a strategy, literally all you are doing is into the world and hoping that something sticks, hoping that somebody finds you, hoping that somebody listens to you, hoping that somebody buys from you. And what's the point of doing something if you're not going to go all in, make it happen, and not just expect the algorithms of Facebook and YouTube and everywhere else to do the job for you? Like that's not going to work for you. I can tell you right now, because algorithms are not exactly your friend. They're not watching out for you.
No, it certainly isn't. And it can be really depressing. And maybe that's why, I know this is the case, that everyone wants to get the tech sorted, because that's kind of the easy bit. I'm not saying it's easy, but it's certainly easier than having to think about strategy
or thinking
procrastination. Oh my goodness, what was that?
Falling on the floor. Something just fell.
It's like an earthquake. I'm fine. But yeah, this is live. So yeah, it seems like when we have to think really hard, or when there's not like tell me which camera to buy. Oh, you buy this camera. That's easy. But when it comes to strategy, like how do we get started? I mean, what would you say? I mean, would you say there is like one basic strategy that we should have, or does it vary depending on what type of business you're on, what you're trying to do?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, you have to understand at the get-go of what are you trying to do? Like, what is your goal? Some people's goals is to grow an audience. Some people's goal is just to grow revenue. They don't care about the numbers. They just want to sell. And that can be effective. We see that time and time again. However, I believe the connection is the better way to go. But, you can have different strategies. Like, what are you trying to accomplish at the end of the day? And there's no right answer for you. So you have to understand, like, if I'm going to create content, why am I doing this? Just because everybody tells me that it's the right thing to do. Oh, everybody's saying you have to do video, so I'm going to do video. That's not enough. So really dig deep and decide, are you trying to build an audience and a community around that are loyal and stick with you for years and years and years? Or are you just trying to get one-off sales that doesn't build an actual audience? And that's your first question to answer. And then you have to decide which platform you're on. Where is that audience? Who are you trying to speak to? Where are they hanging out? Are they on LinkedIn? Are they on YouTube? Are they on Facebook? Where are you most likely to get that audience? And focus on that platform first. Make sure that you grow that audience and dig your heels in, and then you can add over time.
Yeah, that's really, really helpful advice. It's not as scary as it sounds. Would you agree? I mean, people just need to do that groundwork, and it could be just asking those questions. And if you struggle with this, get somebody else to help ask those questions. I definitely struggle with this. And actually, like, I've got my wife is very good at this. She'll ask me questions. Why are you doing that? So friends in the industry, they'll ask, well, why are you doing that, Ian? And that's really helped me. And so laying that groundwork, really, really good advice there, Luria.
It's not easy, right? And I think that the reason that it's not easy is that people are trying to get it perfect right out of the gate. And it's never going to be perfect right out of the gate. When you are starting with content online or building an audience, you're going to fail. You're going to get it wrong. You're going to learn. You're going to screw something up. You're going to say, well, no, I don't like how that feels. And then you're going to adjust. Experimentation is key. And it's not necessarily like you can't decide and have it happen tomorrow. And so that's one of the key principles of the strategy, is that there are certain things that you can decide on and you can go forth with a solid strategy. However, that solid strategy is likely to change and adjust over time as you discover who your audience really is. Because oftentimes we get it wrong in our brains versus what's actually out there.
Yeah, so true. So yeah, it's flexible. Your strategy is flexible. It can change. Get down what you think it's going to be, and then do some testing.
Yeah.
I'm going to ask you some more questions, Luria, about how we get started. But just some great comments and questions. So Sean says, this was early when we were talking about mindset.
Yes.
Mindset is more important than any piece of gear. £1 million of kit and a bad mindset will tank.
Totally.
And I also love this. Comfortable is a curse. Diamonds are created under pressure. I love that. I don't know whether you're a Monty Python fan, Luria, but I always think about the the comfy chair as a kind of a form of torture. And I think that's true. You know, if we're sitting in the comfy chair, we're not going to get anywhere. And a great question from Anya. So I wanted to ask you this. So this is quite a cool question. Is there a good authenticity evaluation system or metric when reviewing content creators to follow or work with? That's a really interesting one. Any thoughts on that?
That's a deep question right there.
It is.
I think that, when you're approaching it from the perspective you're approaching it, I thought it was Anya, but you're saying Anya, so now I'm confused. So tell us
So am I mispronouncing her name?
I don't know. Well, this is just your accent. It's just your accent.
It's my British. Put it down to my British accent.
I think what you're really doing is looking at how the audience connects to that person. If you look at the comments, are they surface level or are they deeper of a connection? Does it look like that, that person is actually putting themselves out there in a way that's connecting with the audience? And that's obviously, there's no hardcore metric. And in fact, speaking of metrics, I often tell people not to look at certain metrics because Facebook and YouTube and all of these different platforms will give you certain key metrics that are so disingenuous in terms of deciding the fact that these people are actually engaged. Like there's no engagement metric that really speaks to engagement. And so I bring that up because it's really about looking at that conversation that's happening and whether people are like, oh my God, this person is amazing. Oh my God, you have helped me so much. Oh my God, I love you. Like all of these different things. So yeah, that's what I would say there. And as, for everybody else, as we're talking about metrics and looking at kind of what matters, I would say make sure that you're focused on engagement ratio as opposed to numbers. So I would rather see you have 10 engaged viewers than 100 people who aren't talking. If just a few people on 100, you have 100 simultaneous viewers and just a few people are talking, that's not good. That doesn't really speak well to that connection that you've built with your audience. Like, I'm looking at the numbers here, and Ian, you've got so many comments coming in, and people are engaged and they're asking questions. That speaks volumes to what you have done for your audience and where they feel comfortable with you, right? So that engagement ratio, so much more important than any metrics.
Yeah, thank you for saying that, because it's so true. I think we can get overly excited by, Facebook and YouTube and all these live platforms don't really help us because there's this big number on the top left, and we can get either very depressed if it's very low, or we get like, oh my goodness, there's like over 100, I'm going to die, So, but there are far more important metrics, really, really important stuff. So we've got a little few tech questions, which I will let, we aren't talking about strategy, but I will let these through, because this is from Alec Dorling, who's a great guy. So he's asking, have either of you used Singular.live to generate overlays, which creates a browser URL? That can be used as an input to Ecamm, vMix, or something like that. Use it like an item, like the ATM Mini. Also, people struggle with creating countdown timers again. So using streamtimer.com. So I think this question is about using like Singular Live or something similar that adds overlays. Now, at the moment, you can't add overlays in Restream Studio, but you can create them in another tool like OBS or Ecamm, and then bring that into Restream. Have you played around with any of that kind of stuff?
So it depends on what kind of overlays we're talking about, right? So like in terms of frames and overlays and pips and things like that, we do those. My graphic designer does those through Photoshop or whatever he uses, and brings those in. I've not used Singular.live specifically, but I think Singular.live is more like a Streamlabs or Stream Elements. Is it not?
I think it allows you to create. It's similar to that, I think. So it allows you to create overlays like you could
that kind of
just
pop up when
graphics on the
something
screen,
happens.
and
Oh,
they can
okay.
pop up. Yeah, I think so.
So like Streamlabs, Stream Elements, those have like added overlays where something happens, like you get a super chat, and then boom, like that kind of like triggers something going on the screen. I thought Singular.live was kind of like that, but I could be wrong. So but yeah, so you can have overlays and frames and all of these things to add a lot of professionalism to your content, and to the visuals. And you can also go advanced with like those pop-ups that happen when you get super chats. So yeah, there you go.
And just explain to people who don't know what Super Chats is. This is on YouTube. Can you just explain briefly what Super Chat is?
Yeah, it's the ability for viewers to donate to you. So like we do a Friday Q&A, and we have 3 rules on those Q&As. 1, you put a Q in front of your question. 2, you don't ask your question twice because we're answering them in the order that they were received. And 3, Super Chats take priority. That means that somebody can send $5, $1, $10, $20, whatever they feel like, and that comes to our account, but then they get their question answered like that. So there's a little bit of an incentive to donate to the channel. But people do that just because they freaking love the content creator as well. And it's just a way to support the content creator. And I made the mistake because, like we have courses and things like this, and I have a membership, and I was like, I don't think people are going to want, like, I don't feel right about taking donations while also asking them to sign up for a membership or a course or things like that. I was so wrong. The audience told me 100%, like, please add super chats. We want to support you in a different way. Even though they are a member on our, Streamer Accelerator program, they're in there, they're paying a monthly price, and they're getting tons of value. But they also wound up wanting to support me on Friday streams and donate. And it was odd to me at first, but it makes a lot of sense just because people like to show appreciation. I know that there's a ton of negativity around people sometimes, but at the end of the day, people are amazing human beings and they're good. And they do love to show appreciation. So having that as an option and something that you open up as an option is something that can be really good for your audience. It's not about revenue for me. It's about the connection that it creates. Does that make sense?
Yeah. It makes total sense. And I think it's encouraging. I mean, obviously you must be doing a few things right if people are wanting to do that as well as being paid customers of yours. So
right.
That's really, really cool. I believe you need to have at least 10,000 followers, 10,000 subscribers on YouTube to get the super chat. But
exactly. We got it. It's kind of random, but 10 is what they say. We got it at like 8,663 or something like that. So it was really weird. But yeah, 10 is supposed to be that
10
minimum.
is right. Okay, that's interesting. We've got some great comments and questions, which I will get back to. I just wanted to talk to you, Luria, about what could the different goals really be for our strategy, and this could be an issue. So we've mentioned quite a few. So it could be revenue, it could be more sales, it could be brand awareness. What if somebody came to you and say, Luria, please help me with my strategy. I want to do all of those things. Now, how does live video fit into all of that? And do you think we need to focus on just one thing and focus and then other parts of our content, our output should focus on other areas? What's your view on that?
So I like to use the word intention, right? You do have to have an intention. And when it comes to live video versus other types of video or what you're doing with your live video, I showcase multiple different types of intentions in our content because we teach this. And so if you watch consistently our live streams, you'll see different intentions. You'll see different goals being presented to you. So on Tuesday, we have a topic specific around tech. It's Tech Tuesday, right? So we're talking about tech on Tuesdays. On Wednesdays, it's very strategic, talking about audience growth, about putting yourself into your content. And then on Thursdays, it's a combination of tech and strategy. And then on Fridays is open Q&A. And so with our Friday shows, because it's just Q&A, those we go crazy with the fun. We're, bleep buttons out galore. We're dancing. We're having a goofy time. We're talking about random things like pineapple on pizza. It's just wherever the community wants to go, we go. Yeah. And that's the intention, is community focus, right? So with that Friday show, that intention is very, very clear. We are building community. On different shows on Tuesday, that may be very tech focused, but it's also a more relaxed kind of conversation. There's often demos and Q&As and things going on. That's education focused with a relaxed feel. So there's not necessarily a structure to that show. But on Wednesdays and Thursdays, you'll see the intention is for the replay. So I build out a structure to the show where the intention is for the replay. So I'm thinking keyword research ahead of time. I'm thinking replay ahead of time. And I will start the stream, hang out with people, welcome them in, get them excited, and then I'll start the stream. Meaning I will start with a teaser, or I'll break. That way we can trim for that. So we get rid of the opener engagement. And then basically we just have this section of teaching or strategy-based content that's meant and built for the replay. And then at the end, we do Q&A that also gets trimmed off. So it's a very focused intention of that content to be built for the replay. You know what? I have turned off my FaceTime and calls and all those stuff on this computer, and it still comes through. I don't get it.
Somebody wants to get hold of you.
I know. I don't know what to tell the iMac, stop. I don't want calls on this computer.
Stop it now. Yeah.
Somebody help me. No, anyway, so does that answer your question? Is like you need to have the intention of your content clear from the get-go so that you can either be relaxed and have fun during your stream and have a show flow, a structure that works for that, or that basically video is going to become a replay searchable piece of content and you structure it as such. So that gives you some guidelines maybe to think about, maybe, how to kind of go about your content. And then in terms of recorded video, I will do very specific recorded videos versus live based on that intention, based on whether I know it's a really searchable content and I know that that's going to rank high. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I think that is pure gold. But you shared there. We should be thinking about what is the main goal of this show today. Why are we doing it?
Yeah.
And it's not to say you can't have fun. I mean, I love what you do with your community focus sessions and just let your hair down. Yeah. If you haven't seen Luria dancing, you're missing out. You need to check it out. It's all great fun. But if you do, I mean, I can't remember how many shows you do per week. It's a lot. But what if you only have the time to do one show? And you've mentioned all these different things. Should we just focus on that? Should one show per week focus on one thing, or can we change it depending on what we're focusing on?
Oh no, like you mean like week to week?
Yeah,
totally. So you want to have an expectation set. The audience needs to know what to expect in general, but switching it up is absolutely okay, and it can even benefit you because it keeps it fresh. It keeps it alive. It keeps them guessing. So you want to have a balance of comfortability for the audience, that they know what to expect, they know what they're getting from you, because people don't like change, but also changing it up can be really beneficial. So there's a little bit of a balancing act that goes on there. Just yeah,
totally makes sense. But I mean, I think that the main thing is here, if you are thinking about your strategy and what your focus is, you're doing a lot more than a lot of people are, and it's a great place to start. And the strategy, and this is what you were saying, Luria, will change. You know, it is a fluid thing, but just get a pen and paper, get a Google Doc, and just start writing it down. That's what I did, and it wasn't great, but I built upon it. And I'm sure you would say the same. I mean, when you first, one of the questions I'm going to ask, when you first live streamed, did you have a strategy, or has this progressed over time? I mean, what would you say about that?
Yeah. When I first started live streaming, it was back in 2007, and I had just gotten my first live stream experience, which was on the set of a TV show. And I was like so nervous, and it was basically live to tape at that point, meaning that it's live. Like, there wasn't an audience watching live, but it's live and you don't get any redos. And so when I got out of that experience, because it freaked me out so bad, I was so scared, and I made it through, but I was like, okay, I'm the kind of person, I don't know about you, Ian, but I have to be good at what I would do. Like, if I'm not good at something, I'm like, okay, let's figure that out. So I went home after that, and I was like, okay, so I'm going to start weekly streaming and doing this for my audience and get good at it. That's all the intention I had at that point. There was a mobile phone app. It was only available on the Nokia N95 at the time, and I streamed from that. I streamed from the TriCaster to, what was it, Ustream back in the day, and I was just doing. And I didn't know what I was doing at all. I watched some of those old videos recently, and I was like, wow, that's bad. I had no idea what the intention was supposed to be. I just knew I was I wanted to kind of connect with the audience, and that was really all I was doing. And so they would watch me shoot my YouTube videos, or we would do Q&As, or whatever I thought about at the time. So, I didn't start out right, no, but streaming was brand new back then. And so that's kind of one of the things that I'm working on a new workshop that we're releasing this year about content strategy, is having this plan of action and these questions that I have you answer, so that there's a clear direction going forward, right? Because this is the biggest problem that people have. And so I'm working on that for you. But right now, just make sure that you're doing something. Just make sure that you're, like Ian said, think about it at least with what you got, and just start taking action and allow it to adjust over time.
Thank you for sharing that with us. And it's encouraging, it's like a lot of people will see you as, just full of confidence. But back in the day when you first started, you were scared so much, and but it's a process. It's over time, and maybe one of the. I mean, when I first went live, I didn't have a strategy apart from the fact that I was interested in the tech. I was having a bit of a geek out with it. I was having fun, and in a way, that's not a bad strategy. I mean, it was. I think I'm really happy. I'm really glad that I did all of that. But at some point, you have to grow up, and you have to think, well, okay, that's fine for then, but what am I going to do now in terms of growing my business? So we'll maybe talk a little bit about that. I'm just aware of time. We've got some fab questions. So Gary says, I play piano covers. I have half a strategy. Well, that's good. That's a good start.
That's a good start.
So gain a viewership. Gain viewership was my first leverage. I can't quite read this. My Facebook friends. And then second, listen to others on Twitch and develop connections, support other viewers. And third, eventually monetize, still figuring this out.
Okay.
What's your view on Gary's strategy there? I think that's pretty good. It's getting there.
Yeah. I mean, my question is why, leverage your Facebook friends, and then Twitch, and then the piano covers and Twitch are a great combination. That content can work really, really well on Twitch. And I would add to that strategy, like you're doing good so far. You're actually taking that action. Collaborations would be a fantastic thing for you to add, and just start collaborating with other people of like-minded content. And that can really help grow that audience.
Oh, that's awesome. Thank you. And yeah, he does say that I've had some good days and bad days. Welcome to the club. You know,
well, yeah. Welcome to live.
Welcome to live. You know, disasters happen. I wouldn't say today was a disaster, me getting the time wrong, but you know. But I have grown so much from live streaming. I can rewatch and see how I can improve. Well, that's awesome. It's
yes.
You learn so much from a tech and a mindset point of view. And he also says, this is a fantastic stream. Well said. It's about engagement. Thank you so much. I can see Scott Ayres is here, a good friend of mine. He's saying, Ian and Luria. And Sophia, yeah. So Alex says Singular Live is free. I think they also have a paid plan. I've not looked into it. I believe the free plan has some ads on it. But yeah, I definitely will check it out. And Bob says, do super chats work for everyone, or do you have to build an audience who is used to paying for your skills first? Well, I suppose putting aside the 10,000 thing or the 8,000 or whatever it is, I think you'd agree that you need to build an audience first.
Yeah, definitely. You don't need to build an audience who's used to paying for your skills. No, you need to build an engaged audience. That's it. If people are engaged with you, then super chats will work. If you are going live and having nobody comment, super chats are not going to work for you. So focus on building an engaged audience, no matter whether you have other paid services or courses or whatever. That has nothing to do with it. So yeah, that's just really all it is engagement.
Sounds good. Sean is asking a random question about pineapple. It's not a question. He's just saying, am I the only person here from Hawaii? Putting pineapple on pizza is disrespectful to King Kama. Yeah.
Putting pineapple on pizza is just wrong, in my opinion, in the first place. So
I would agree.
King Kamahama.
I'm glad I'm not the only one struggling with that one.
Oh God!
Sorry, I put it away. Yeah. Let's just give up now. I don't know. I've been to Italy, and I love Italian pizza, and the Italians do not put it on. Yeah. And Gary says, yes, I have to grow up. Yes. Well,
we all are growing up at all times.
but I think also I think it's also good to kind of put a bit of the inner child in our live streams. Sometimes we want to kind of look all professional, but I mean, you know, what is you know, the professional Luria look like, and what does the professional Luria do the dancing? You know, I mean, what does that all mean? And I think actually, professional can sometimes mean boring. And we don't want that, do we?
Well, let's dive into that just a little bit, because professional in most of our brains means buttoned up, you know, like presenting the best version of that company that we're representing, whether it's our own or somebody else's. And oftentimes it feels restrictive. So if you really start to pay attention to what the word professional means to you, that is going to tell you a lot, because we don't often realize what's going on in our brain. So when I talk about professional live video, I'm literally only talking about the visuals, the tech, the presentation that you're giving visually speaking. But it never ever, it's two different layers and they never combine. We've got professionalism on the tech side and then personality on the personality side. I call it professionality, the perfect combo of those two things. And when you remove professionalism from the way you speak, the way you think, the way you act, the way you move on camera, that is going to present your personality better, more so than professionalism, right? So we get questions that it's so funny. while we're goofing off and being silly and all of these things, people are literally buying our workshops and joining Streamer Accelerator, our program that with coaching and stuff. And literally they're asking the question at the same time, but I'm speaking to a business audience. How can I be more professional? Like, how do I present personality? I'm like, you're a business, I'm a business to business. Like, and we're being goofy and you're buying our stuff. So
isn't that funny? But they're kind of looking at you and thinking, well, that's all right for you, Luria, but I couldn't possibly do that.
Exactly.
It's so funny.
So we just need to get out of our own way.
Absolutely. So we're almost out of time, but I did want to ask you about sales, and if our strategy is, we want to get more money, we want to become more profitable as a business, and there's nothing wrong with that.
Well, you have
somebody said to me, if you want to help people, you can't if you don't have a profitable business. So that's just the way it is. So how can live video? I think the answer is yes, obviously, but how can we, if we have a sales focus and we're wanting to build more revenue, how can what is the strategy for that, or what is a typical strategy for live streaming?
Well, let me just say this is that, so typical marketing, tactic says that you have to be in front of somebody's face 7 times before they will buy from you. Literally on my live streams, I'm taking somebody from stranger, first time viewer to buyer on that live stream. And that happens so often that I now have a completely different perception of marketing techniques, because really people are buying from people. And if you put a, perfect marketing strategy up against a conversation happening on live streaming, guess what? This is going to win every time from the quickness and the effectiveness of it. And so, the numbers have to be there on a live stream in order to match a proper marketing funnel, but the effectiveness is there. And so if you can scale that, then you are golden. And so, you absolutely need to grow your business to help more people and to have the bigger impact on the world that you're hoping to. And so don't be afraid to ask for the sale. But what I love about live streaming is when you are promoting something or when you are offering something, if people understand your heart, if people understand, who you are because you've built this relationship with them, then it's not going to feel sleazy to them, right? And so I want to point out, Callie, can you help me out for a second? Yeah. Okay, do the promotion thing that we were doing. So Callie is our community care manager, and she so last week we had a promotion into our Streamer Accelerator program, and on the live show, when people would join, they would say like, oh, I just joined. And Callie would pop into frame. Sorry, I'm putting her on the spot right now. But she would pop into frame and give them a big warm welcome. Thank you.
Oh, that's awesome.
And so, we're having fun with promotions, right? She is the big warm welcome to our community. She does the bonjouros and welcomes new people into the community. And so we integrate that into the live stream. So a promotion, a stream that is meant to sell, literally can feel so much fun and enjoyable for the audience. Even if they don't buy, they're still having fun watching that, right? So yeah. I just want to put that in your brain, because it doesn't have to feel sleazy, and it can be an enjoyable experience for the viewer.
That is so important. You do not have to be sleazy. In fact, I would really like you not to be sleazy.
Yeah, totally.
Be yourself. And, you can feel, maybe comfortable is the wrong word, because whether we will always feel comfortable on live streaming, there might be a little elements of not feeling comfortable, as we were talking about earlier. But I think being yourself when you're selling is so important, because people buy from humans, don't they? And it's a kind of overused phrase, but so true.
Yeah, totally.
So true. Well, we're out of time. Thank you so much, Luria. It's been awesome to have you on the show. Just a few extra comments. Oh, Katie Simpson, we're on pineapple. Pineapple is the best thing on pizza. Oh dear. We're having pineapple wars.
No.
Katie, I'm very disappointed in you. It's all right. We'll still be friends. And Gary says, okay, collaborations with like-minded content. You are not the first to say that. Have a music producer friend who I meet once a month. It's so much fun. Definitely, awesome. That is fabulous. That's fabulous stuff. Cool. Well, I'll just a few things, Laura, before we go. So I'll just to remind you, we go live every Tuesday, normally at 4 p.m. in the UK. That's 11 a.m. Eastern and 8 a.m. Pacific. If there are any changes, I will definitely let you know about that. Also, to let you know if you want to be notified, I'm just looking for the button. Where's it gone? There we go. It is confident.live/restream. If you want to be notified for next week using my Facebook Messenger bots, that would be awesome. And also check out Restream. It's completely free. They have paid plans as well, but it's definitely worth checking out. If you want to find out more, all you need to do is go to iag.me/Restream, which will be absolutely fabulous. Well, thank you. Oops, I've pressed the wrong button. There we go. I've got fat fingers. So how can people find out more about you? Obviously, you've got the cool livestreamingpros.com website, which is absolutely awesome. Maybe just tell my viewers a little bit more about what you do and how people can find out more about what you do.
Yeah, so we're live 4 days a week. We do 2 YouTube videos a week, and I have the YOUniquely You podcast. So there's tons of content to consume from us. And that's at youtube.com/livestreamingpros. If you want to learn more about backgrounds and get some ideas for your own background and see how it can be done simply and easily, we do have a free PDF that comes directly from our students, livestreamingpros.com/ideas. And that will get you started and get your brain rolling if you're looking for some background improvements.
Fabulous.
Thank you for having me. I've had a blast talking to you guys and great questions as well.
Oh, well, it's been awesome. I can't believe this is the first time you have come on any of my shows. It's absolutely ridiculous. And twice in a week. Well, why not? Let's just do it. That's fabulous. Well, thank you so much, Luria. It's been awesome to have you on. Really appreciate that.
Always.
So, well, I think that is the end of the show. And I just want to encourage you to expand your audience and reach through the power of multi-streaming video. But until next time, see you soon. Bye.
Thanks for watching. Go Live with Restream from Ian Anderson Gray, the show from Restream that helps you expand your audience and reach through the power of multi-streaming video. Visit iag.me/Restream for more. And until next time, toodaloo.